Let me wait for this to recharge. Actually, you know what? Let's just do it. Let's see what 2 can do. Yeah. If it's got to land anyway. Okay. Okay, I critted him. That was pretty nice damage. I'm not gonna lie. I might actually clip that. Hi guys, I'm back with another Vex build in Borderlands 4. As you guys saw in the intro clip, we nuked that boss just using Specters. I know I was using the crit knife in the video, but the crit knife, regardless of its nerf, is probably going to stay a staple for Vex and in this build going forward. I'm going to cover all the details on how I was able to get damage like that, as well as the potential buffs that you can do to make this build better. And I'm going to show you how to level this build all the way from 1 to 50 and show you the specializations as well. I'm also going to be going to the firmware, a little bit more into detail. I was hoping to get a post update build for you guys, but unfortunately I'm not going to be able to be here for the update when it goes live. So I wanted to go ahead and get this build out to you guys, and I will optimize it and see how it changes when the patch hits. But this should be good going into the patch regardless. We're going to start off with the skills. And we're also going to talk about the 3 skills for Vex 2 that you should have on every Vex build in the future. So stick around towards the end of the video, and I'm going to go over that because that's going to be kind of towards the end. But starting off, we're going to get Cold Iron. This is just very basic. We get gun damage all the way. This is a Specter build, so our minions are going to get more damage, and we're going to get more damage, so it's a win-win. And then we're going to grab Portents of Suffering. Vex and our minions get increased status effect damage. So this is great because, again, a lot of this build is also going to revolve around bleed and making our minions proc bleed, as well as using different elements that they're attuned to. And then we're going to grab Coven. This one, in my opinion, is just really good. If you're going to run Reapers or you're going to run Specters, this is just great because, again, for the Specter version, we get increased critical hit chance. So again, more critting, more damage, more DPS, and then if you decide to go the Reaper route, your Reapers are going to get increased health regeneration. So it helps them to survive longer, because I think that's the biggest issue right now with Reapers and Specters at the moment, is they just die too quickly. And then from there, we are going to grab Grave Fiends, kill skill, Vex and our minions will increase damage. So again, this is pretty nice. You get 3 stacks, and that gives you, if my math is correct, about 38% increased damage, roughly 37.5. So again, that's more damage. Getting 3 kills is very easy and very doable. And then also you're going to just get Blood Sacrifice whenever the minions die. You proc a kill skill. Again, your minions are going to be dying fast. So this is another great way to just keep those kill skills up the entire time. Then when you come down here, we're going to go to the right-hand side, and we're going to grab Dark Pact. This is the capstone that we want. The reason why I honestly like this over the other ones is I played with Heirloom, and yes, it was cool that my Spectre got to have my gun, but it was only for 10 seconds. And again, I know people say you can just keep rotating it, and you probably could, but I like this because with Dark Pact, you can also heal your minions. So if, let's say, you spawn 3 of them, they're about to die, you just hit this real quick, they're back to full health, they no longer have health drain, and now they have to actually die by getting killed, or instead of just basically dying over time. And then also the nice thing about it too is they get a higher attack speed, and then the minion speed, that's mainly really for the Reapers, but we're not using Reapers in this build. But to get there, we're going to do prismatic weaponry. Vex and Specters do bonus damage with gun criticals. So again, like, we're doing gun criticals, we're going to do increased damage, and the bonus damage is a random element type that changes on reload. Bonus damage is further increased for each active attunement. So again, this really stacks up. So if you are in the clip 2 that you saw, like, what we had really going on was we had the Spectre spawn in as electric for the boss, and then we switched to incendiary, so we were procced with incendiary attunement. And then on top of that, they were afflicted with bleed, so they kind of had 3 different effects going on at the same time, and that's what caused us to get really crazy damage. Again, I'm not too sure if bleed is going to be considered an elemental type. I know it's kinetic, but I don't know, that damage. I can't really explain to you why the damage did that, but I've been able to do that bossing with Vex a lot, getting her to proc that kind of effect on all the bosses. And then we're going to go down and grab Ancient Rites. Vex gains stacks of Ancient Rites for each active minion. This is pretty much just going to increase the damage. So pretty much you can get 40 stacks. And ideally, the nice thing is you kind of want to spread out your minions. Like in that clip, I had 2, but ideally you mainly want to throw like 1 out when it's about to die, throw out another, etc. Just keep it flowing. So the longer your minions stay on the field, the longer you keep this stack up. And again, this is just an extra 40% damage for your minions just to have. So again, more damage, higher criticals, higher bleed, higher dots. And then we're gonna grab a Diner, and we just gain 1 extra charge. Again, we just want to have as many minions as possible because this is a minion build, and this is again gonna help us keep all those buffs that come from everything here, as well as help us get a blood sacrifice more often. We talked about Dark Pact. We are using some skills from Incarnate. Now, this is the skill tree that I think every build, regardless of the path you go down, you should have these 3 skills right here. Grave Sights, Vex gains increased critical hit damage and gun handling. Again, this is nice because, again, this is more critical damage for you for kill skills. And again, the nice thing about this is you have the blood sacrifices. So again, whenever your guys die, which they're going to die a lot, you're able to actually take advantage of this and get this like in a boss fight and keep this up, etc. This is going to help you with bossing with Vex, because we do know a lot of this stuff is going to get nerfed. Like the underbarrels that are really making a lot of these weapons good are definitely going to get looked at. So this right here is what's going to help you. And then you want Blood Letter, which is gun and skill critical hits have a chance to apply bleed. So again, when your minions apply crit, they're going to also cause bleed damage. And again, it is only 30% of the gun damage affected. But again, it stacks up to 20 stacks. So that's why this is able to get really high. And you can see those crazy numbers with bleed. And then from there, you can do material components. Vex gains increased kinetic damage and kinetic status effect. Again, this is just more for bossing and mobbing, just to kind of help you out. You're not really able to rely on your minions all the time to kill everything, but they do really good damage, especially if you're matching the elements of what they're going up against. They're very strong, as you saw in that boss clip. And then we're going to grab Conjunction, where Vex gains increased gun damage the more full her shields are, and damage reduction the less full her health is. This right here is just mainly for helping your survivability and for burst potential. So again, you just get a free up to 12% gun damage when your shield is full. With the shield that we're going to be using, it's pretty easy to keep this buff up because we're going to have overshields a lot. And then we get damage reduction. Like for 2 points to getting 29% damage reduction, that's pretty OP. I think it's definitely worth the grab. You could change this and maybe jump over here and grab some skills like it deals increased action skill damage the higher her health is. You could probably come here and grab that. There's a lot of like good skills in the red tree, but again, like I said, Vex minions get overshield. That would help with survival. You know, you're killing a lot. You're getting overshielded a lot. What else would be good? Vex minions getting critical hit damage. So this would also be like another good route to go. But again, like I said, the reason why we were able to do the damage we were doing is because we were able to cause bleed. And the bleeding can crit and it can stack, and the more it does, the more it kind of compounds on itself. And that's what makes it so strong. Now for the gear is really up to your choice. I definitely think Hot Slugger for Vex is worth it because again, we are going to be taking advantage of the fact that she has bleed with kinetic damage. This is kinetic shotgun. It's Jacobs. It ricochets. It's very good, and it has a stacking multiplier effect where you can get up to 90% increased damage just from this alone. And again, that's also stacking the bleed in the build for bossing, which makes it really good. The gun that I recommend for Vex as a secondary main weapon to use is going to be the Wombo combo. The reason why this weapon is so good is because it has the ability to shoot the Torg zip rockets underneath. And those rockets count as kinetic damage. So whenever those rockets crit, you proc the bleed, and then it's just like trickling on effect. I should have some gameplay in the background going of just using this thing. It mobs, it destroys, it's really good. Right now, I'm using the Dullahan just for the underbarrel spread launcher. It's really broken right now. It's really good just for quick farming. I would recommend getting one. We don't know how spread launchers are going to get nerfed in the future. But ideally, when it comes to the weapons on the build, you kind of want to have certain elements. So right now, I'm currently rocking the electric wombo combo, and then I have the Asher's Rice sniper rifle, just so I can kind of swap elements. Because really, the hot slugger is my main weapon. That's my main DPS. Everything. This is kind of secondary, and then this, because I can rotate between incendiary and corrosive, I can spawn that in and then make my minions adjust according to what I'm fighting or the environment that I'm in. We are using the crit knife. We do have, the where we get the guaranteed crits. I feel like the crit knife is still going to be good going into the update. I just feel like the way they're going to nerf it, and I could be wrong, is I think they're just going to make it, instead of automatic crits, it's probably just going to be a flat, like maybe 15% critical chance to, maybe 50% crit chance when you hit an enemy with the knife. That's probably what it'll be. And even if that is the buff or the nerf, I will still keep it. When it comes to the rep kit, I like cardiac. I like the standard defibrillator. I think it's just great because it gives you a massive amount of heal. On top of that, like, you get a chance for it to refill. I've seen this proc a lot. Whenever I needed a rep kit, I've always had one. So again, like, usually you're getting hit a lot by big burst, big DPS, especially Ultimate Vault Hunter 5. So your health does drop, and boom, you get a 20% chance to get it. You're gonna be getting overshields all the time with this build, so you're getting this up and keeping this up is going to be pretty easy. I think this is one of the best ones. And we also have Amped. No matter what rep kit you want, Amped is the one that you want, because this is how you're going to set up your big burst. On use, it increases the damage of the next shot by 200%. So again, like, you're using things like Hot Slugger, you're using like a sniper rifle, anything like that, any like heavy ordnance, you're going to want Amped. Now for the class mod, we obviously are using the Illusionist because it's going to turn our Reapers into badass Reapers. We got one here that gave us 30% increased gun damage. That's going to help us for mobbing and bossing. Now again, because the Specters deal gun damage, I have a feeling that this is also impacting their DPS output as well. I could be wrong, but just by the wording of some of the skills, how it says Vex and her minions gain increased gun damage, I feel like this also applies to your Specters. So the Specters deal a lot of damage. I've noticed when I put this on, it did. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on it. Watts for dinner, I think, is the go-to shield. I've been trying to farm a level 50. I have Amped on it as well. So when your shields are full, your next shot gains 100% increased gun damage. So between that and the rep kit, already you have a 300% damage increase on your next shot. So pairing that with Hot Slugger to then proc bleed is going to be very strong. And then, like I said, it has a chance to drop overshields, and your minions as well drop overshields too, just for standing there. So when you're mobbing and farming in an area, you'll have like 100 little overshields to pick up on the ground, allowing you to keep your shield up. And then again, like I said earlier, in the other skill that we had in conjunction, we deal more damage. You're able to keep that 12% damage buff up a lot of the times whenever you're fighting. And then we have Sturdy on it, where a 5% chance when you get hit to take 20% damage reduction. This is very nice because, again, you pair that with conjunction, you're almost at 50% damage reduction. So survivability is very high with this build. This is not really the one that I want. Let me see if I have the shield that I was looking at that I really wanted. There's a shield that, when I forgot the name, Power Booster. This is what I would ideally want, is when you take damage or you damage an enemy, there's a 20% chance to spawn a Power Booster that grants 10% more gun damage. I would like that just because I'm trying to maximize damage. I would take the sacrifice of 20% damage reduction just to grab 10% more damage for 10 seconds. Because again, this can proc in the arena. Your minions causing damage, they can drop it. It's great, etc. If I could get a Watch for Dinner with Amped and Power Booster, that would be the role I would want. Now, for the enhancement, this is one that's up to you, really. I personally like the Jacobs enhancement, just because your Jacobs have an extra ricochet. So with Hot Slugger being your main weapon, it's very good. And then guns with Jacobs licensed parts grant consecutive critical hits, stacking 5% bonus damage for 8 stacks. So again, when you pair this with the crit knife that you're guaranteeing critting, it's just stacking. And then also its perks too, 21% more gun damage, 20% more fire rate. Again, they're the low end of this. We could get them even higher than that, but this is level 39, and I have not been able to get a higher level Jacobs one. So if any of you guys have one out there, I'm jealous of you. because I really want one. I cannot get one whatsoever. I can get everything else, but I cannot get a Jacobs one to drop again. I'd recommend this one the most, just again, because like I said, your primary weapon is going to be the Hot Slugger in terms of dealing your DPS. And then for your firmware, Deadeye, of course, we get increased gun accuracy, 25% crit damage, and then every critical hit grants 15% critical damage per stack, for a maximum of 5 stacks. So, simple math. What is that? That's 75% increased critical strike damage for 10 seconds. It's very easy to get these 5 stacks because, again, you throw the knife, you're literally already there. And then Trick Shot, this is the one that I'm really trying to get 2 out of 3 because, again, you get more reload speed, and this is a critical build. We want our minions to deal as much damage as possible, so we're trying to get that increased crit damage. So that's another 10% crit. Very easy things to proc. So between this and that, just our firmware alone is giving us 85% increased critical hit damage. So that's really covering the skills and abilities and the firmware. Specializations. Right now, we're going to go with Survivor 20, Brute 20, Sharpshooter 20, and then ideally, we're going to want Killer to be at 20 as well. We don't really need to come over here unless you really want the movement speed buff. I don't really want. I'm going to just focus maxing this out as much as possible. And then for our 4 perks, we're going to choose the best defense. Vault Hunter gains damage, increased damage dealt based on the fullness of their shield or their health. Again, this is an easy 30% increased damage. Whenever the Vault Hunter deals gun damage, gain a stack of literally this, increasing gun damage. Again, this is very, very easy. And I've noticed too, for some reason, I don't know if it's a bug, but sometimes the minions dealing damage will actually proc this for you. So this is a free 50% damage. Very easy to do. You can pull out the Wombo combo and just get your stacks of 50 immediately on a boss. And then you can just pull out the Hot Slugger if you're not able to kill the boss quick just through bleed. And then in the zone is the next one. While aiming, the Vault Hunter gains increased gun damage and gun critical hits per second. Bonuses are lost after 2 seconds of not aiming. So again, this is very good with Hot Slugger because this is going to get us guaranteed crit. Ideally, what you want to do when you use Hot Slugger, you just want to aim and go, aim and go. And then the nice thing too about this is when you're fighting the boss and everything, all you have to do is just literally keep reprocking the aim, and it's very easy to hold the stack of 5. It's not hard to do. You're kind of do it naturally just by fighting and going through the game. And then bullets are scared of me. The Vault Hunter gains increased damage reduction based on the fullness of their shield or health, whichever is higher. So between our perks and what we have, we're almost at 80% damage reduction as Vex, so survivability is very high. Now you can replace this and get more DPS options, you can get critical hits grant increased status effect application. This would probably be better just because, again, more chance to crit. Enemies take increased damage for each status effect applied to them. I was thinking about this. I haven't really tested it, but when I see damage taken is increased by 1%, so we have 3% extra damage. I don't know if this just keeps stacking and stacking that 3% and getting higher. Haven't really done any testing on there, but I don't know. That's just not the one to choose. I think ideally I want to replace it with Overkill just for mobbing, because you're going to be one-shotting a lot of things. Jacob's Ricochet critting a lot. So I feel like this, especially when I've been farming those flying saucer guys, the Rotor Twins, or whatever the hell their name is. They have so many minions there, and whenever I critical someone with a Hot Slugger and 5 people die next to them because of the Ricochet, I feel like this would be OP in terms of just ad clear. So Overkill is what I'm chasing at the moment to play with. But that's really the specializations. I don't want this video to drag out any longer than it is. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please consider subbing to the channel. 90% of you guys are not subscribed, and I will catch you guys in the next video.